I'm Breeze Newell, and you're watching The B.O.S. Company Presents. How I Learned to Sell, Alternate of Choice Questions. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. No matter what time of day this video finds you, I hope it finds you well. Breeze here with The B.O.S. Company. We provide customized consulting for businesses and individuals who have the willingness to believe, the desire to grow, and the courage to make it all happen. Our goal is to foster a habitual vision of greatness in all that we encounter, and we're here to serve. It's morning time for me. I have my morning coffee, which means I'm ready to talk to you about how I learned to sell using alternate of choice questions. Here we go. Let me ask you some questions. Do you prefer to learn by watching videos, or is it better for you if you learn by doing things yourself? Do you like to watch these video clips that I make exclusively on YouTube, or do you like to watch them on Facebook, or do you like to watch Reels on Instagram? Do you really like learning about these question series I'm making, or do you like the fundamentals better that I've made? These are all examples of alternate of choice questions. So really what alternate of choice questions do for you is they allow you to give the prospect or the person that you're talking to, whether they be somebody you're collaborating with on figures in a negotiation, whether they be a customer service situation, someone you're talking to in that sort of dynamic, whether it be a superior of yours, maybe a boss at work, maybe it be somebody that you're trying to coach at work or counsel. Really, no matter who it is, could even be a friend, family, neighbor, coworker, spouse, whatever it is, it allows you to control the conversation by giving them some alternate of choices. They're going to have options that they can choose from. This allows you to do several different things. This allows you to control the conversation. It allows you to lead the dance. They're really good for investigating. These are different from open-ended questions, for instance, which we've talked about in the past, in that they're not necessarily the best for building rapport, but they are really good if you're trying to make sure that you're giving people options that you already know the answers to, and no matter which option they pick, you're going to have a retort, you're going to have an answer, you're going to have a response that helps you move the sale forward or move the situation you're in forward. So let's break down the structure of these questions. First of all, they're known by a bunch of different names. They're alternate of choice, they're alternative choice, they are choice questions, they're option questions, they're either or questions. People call them by a bunch of different names, but really all you're doing is you're giving people options. So you're saying things like pick A or pick B, or pick A, B, or C. You can even go with 4, 5, 6 different selections. It doesn't really matter, but you're not leaving it open-ended. So you're able to predict not necessarily how someone will respond, but you know that they can only choose one of the options you've given them, which lets you have control in the conversation. It gives you the ability to lead the dance, and it can be super effective if your goal is to make sure that you know what's coming in the conversation. So let's talk about how some of these alternative choice questions can be applied. First of all, they can be applied to building rapport. I prefer open-ended questions for building rapport because there's not as many constraints. People feel a little bit more freedom, and their value of freedom gets to be expressed a little bit more because they don't have to adhere to the rigid standards that you're setting with the options you're giving them. But you could ask somebody where they're from with an alternative choice structure. So what you could say is, are you from here locally originally, or are you from out of state? You're giving them two options, and they can really only answer one of two ways. You could also do it even with, what they do for a living. You could say, do you work from home or do you go to an office? So these are really basic examples of just option questions, either or questions, alternative choice questions, where you're controlling the conversation. Now, a more common way to actually apply these alternative choice questions is when you're trying to investigate product. Maybe you're trying to qualify a prospect for a product that you have. So for instance, I just recently went bike shopping for my wife and I for her birthday. And I went to some bike shops. And the bike salespeople could take one of two routes with me. They could either A, decide that they wanted to just ask me a bunch of open-ended questions, try and build rapport with me, build a relationship with me, and sell the bike through charisma that way, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And those questions would be more open-ended. They'd sound like, where are you going to be riding them? See, they don't know the answer to that question. They're not giving me options. Or they could leave it open-ended in, how often are you going to use them? Or what type of riding are you going to be doing? Those are open-ended questions. Now, what we're talking about is we're talking about alternate choice questions. We're talking about giving them options. So instead, they could try and narrow down the selection of the inventory they have, because there's lots of bikes out there, I found out. And they could say things like, are you going to mainly be riding in the hills, or are you going to be riding just around town? Or are you going to be riding these just every once in a while with the family, or is this going to be an everyday thing? They might even ask me, is this something that you're going to be using to actually get around town going to work? Or is this something that you're just going to use for leisure? So see, these are all option questions, alternative choice questions, where they're only giving me a few options and I need to pick from the options they're giving me. This provides the salesperson excellent control. Because if they ask me an open-ended question, I might not always give them an answer that's going to help the sale move forward. For instance, they might ask me, how are you going to use this? And I might say, I don't really know. And then the momentum of the sale dies a little bit. So a much better way for them to have control and to move the sale forward is to ask an either-or question or an alternative choice question where they say, are you going to be using this mainly to get around town, to and from work, or are you going to be using this just to ride around for fun? See, now I can only choose one of those two options. I could potentially throw a curveball at them, but this gives them so much more control. And it's so much better for narrowing down inventory. The advantage to the salesperson with this is not just control, but they're investigating in an effective way. So they can actually qualify me for what I need to buy. So when they're asking me the question of, are you going to be using this around town or in the hills? They know now what my need is, and it's going to help them help me get what I actually want, because they have mountain bikes, they have cruiser bikes, they have leisure bikes, they have 1-speed bikes, they have 21-speed bikes, they have all sorts of different bikes, right? And they need to know what to sell me. Oftentimes a sale stops and the momentum of a sale stops because the salesperson, they have no idea what to even pick for the customer if the customer's indecisive. So these alternative choice questions, they can really help you narrow down inventory and make sure that you can actually find something for the prospect. Let's talk about another really great applicable way that you can use these alternative choice questions. Let's talk about appointment setting. So it's very, very, very common with people when they're trying to set appointments for prospects that are coming in, or just patients at an office. If they're at a doctor's office or a dentist office, it's really common when you're more of a novice to use open-ended questions here. So you might ask somebody, when can you come in? Do you know what the most common response to that question is? I don't know, let me check my schedule. And you don't get anywhere, the momentum dies. So instead, next time, use an alternative choice question. So you're on the phone with somebody, maybe you're even emailing somebody back and forth, you're chatting on live chat, you're talking to somebody in person, it doesn't really matter. If you use an alternative choice question where they only have options, then you can control the conversation and you can fit them into your schedule. So a much better way to ask somebody to come in instead of when can you come in is just, I have some availability later today or tomorrow, which one works best? Now, maybe the prospect doesn't choose later today or tomorrow. Maybe they say, I can't come in until the end of the week. Say, great. Are you thinking Friday or are you thinking the weekend? And then they choose the weekend and you say, great, which works best, Saturday or Sunday? We're open both days. And they say Sunday and you say, awesome, I have some availability. It looks like on Sunday in the morning and in the afternoon. Which do you prefer? And then they say, I could probably make it in after lunch. You say, great, what time's lunch? Do you eat pretty early around noon or do you eat a later lunch? And they say, we usually eat about noon. Say, awesome, looks like I have some openings at 1 or at 2. Which one works best? See, this allows you excellent control. And before, what a lot of people do is they end up saying, when can you come in? Someone says, I don't know, let me talk to my wife, or I don't know, let me check my schedule, or I'll just pop in there when I can, and you left it open-ended and you lost control. With these alternative choice questions, with these option questions, you're only giving the prospect options that work for you. This is why it works so well. This is why it's so effective. It actually allows you to control your business and set your schedule in a smart way. Let's talk about one more way these alternative choice questions can be super effective. When you're collaborating on figures, what most people call a negotiation. So you've actually done a great job of building value, building rapport. This person really likes you. You're in a sales situation, but now it's time to present them what you're trying to sell. If you only have one option, it's really, really similar to like an open-ended question in that it's take it or leave it. You present the option, you say, This service costs $100, and they go, I don't know, let me think about it, as opposed to doing an alternative choice. So what an alternative choice might look like in this scenario would be, okay, Mr. Customer, I really appreciate your time. Now it's time to show you the options. I actually have 3 different choices here for you. I have option A here, which is $50. You get XYZ. I have option B, which is our most popular option. It's $100. You actually get XYZ, D, E, and F. And then I also have our third option here, which is a paid in full option. So instead of paying us monthly for option B, you're just going to pay for it for the year. Which one of these do you think works best? See how that's so much better than just saying, hey, this costs $100, take it or leave it. So this really helps with people's value of freedom. This really helps give you control in the negotiation when you're collaborating on figures with the person that you're talking to. And it also gives people an idea that they're in control, which is nice. So the beautiful part about alternative choice questions is you, as the person that's actually leading the dance, gets to give the person you're dancing with a sense of control because they have choices, as opposed to saying take it or leave it. This is why alternative choice questions are awesome for negotiations. To wrap things up, of course, there's advantages and disadvantages to alternative choice questions. We've covered most of this already, but just as a quick synopsis, the advantages, you get excellent control. You can lead the dance. In a negotiation sort of a scenario, because you're giving people multiple options as opposed to one that they have to pick that's take it or leave it, you actually even give them a sense of control. The disadvantages, especially from like a rapport building standpoint, is it can feel like you're a little constrained. It can feel a little bit like an interrogation sometimes too, so you have to be very mindful of that. Of course, the best way to employ any of this stuff is just to make sure that you're mixing it up. You know, you want to use open-ended questions, you want to use alternative choice questions, you know, you want to use other question types that we're going to talk about in the future here as well. And if you're just mixing it up, you're making sure you're not sticking to just one thing, you're not being super boring and repetitive, then it's going to work really well for you. That's our rundown of alternative choice questions. Make sure you're using this in business and in life to control conversations and make sure that you're not losing momentum in whatever it is that you're doing. If you like the content, if you like what you're hearing, if you want to learn more, if you want to work with the B.O.S. Company, there's going to be details about how to work with us in the show notes. So please check that out. Obviously subscribe so you can see more content coming out as well. Really until next time, let me help you work on your business, not just in your business, and transform your business and change your life. Cheers.